Hi friends, today we are going to be doing a book haul. I haven't done one since like the first of the year, and I think I have 20 books. I decided for some reason that we're going to do this book haul from thinnest to thickest. Who doesn't love a good chunky book? First book we're going to see is the Tea Dragon Society. This has such a beautiful art style. It is the thinnest book, but I really enjoyed it. I read it, I think 2 months ago, and just really adored it. It's so cute. It's a little bit expensive, so I definitely saved up for this, but it's such an adorable book. How can you say no? Another graphic novel series that I've been collecting is Saga. So I ended up getting volume 3. Another really cool art style. It is a little bit adult in content. So if you're considering picking this up, keep that in mind, but I would still highly recommend it. I've read the first 2 and I fell in love with the series. I also recommend reading them pretty close together because there are a lot of point of views, and because they're so short, it can sometimes be a little bit hard to keep track if you wait too long in between. I'm not following my own advice, but so hopefully I'll pick up volume 3 pretty soon. This is The Galaxy and the Ground Within by Becky Chambers. It's actually book 4 in the series, which bothers me just a little bit because we have books 1, 2, and 4. He read book 3 on his Kindle, and I have only read book 1. So we don't have a hard copy of book 3. Right now we only have his Kindle version, but I mean, obviously it's going to be added to the shelf eventually. This next one I bought kind of randomly. It was on my list of 200 books to read. Didn't know anything about it, but I could not find it on like Kindle. My library didn't have a copy. So I just bought like a 99-cent edition from a random thrift store. It ended up really being a really good copy, but this is Goodnight Mr. Tom by Michelle Magorian. So this follows a grumpy old man who takes in a little boy during the war to give him a house kind of away from London and in safety because he lives in the country. There is some trigger warnings for not just death and grief that comes with the war, but the boy's mother is abusive. So you get to watch him kind of come to life and get out of his shell with the grumpy old man, and it was such an adorable story. It was very heart-wrenching and at some points hard to read, but I really love the story and I'm glad I ended up with a copy on my shelf. This next one I am super excited to actually get to read. I haven't yet. This is The Adventure Zone. This is volume 4, The Crystal Kingdom. These follow the D&D campaign from the McElroy brothers and their dad. There's a podcast. Definitely recommend the podcast. I actually recommend reading the arc in graphic novel style first and then going to the podcast because you get so much more background and detail in the podcast that it's kind of hard to lose some of that. It's almost like watching the movie after you read the book. Like, it's not as good. It's still good, but it's not as good as the podcast itself. You just get so much more of the brothers' personalities in that. But these are amazing. The art style is really cool, and I've enjoyed all 3 of them so far. I haven't read this, but I have listened to the podcast. Again, not following my own advice here. You're going to recognize a lot of these next to you, but no guarantee I'll get to them in the upcoming years with the amount of unread books I have on these shelves. But the next one, we're moving into actual novel size, is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I have heard so many good things about this. I still don't know that I could tell you a definitive plot, but everyone that I've watched has loved these. My problem is I keep reading the first book in series, so I need to finish some before I start new ones. We'll see if I actually stick to that, but you know. Okay, the next one I'm going to hold up together. These are both by Talia Hibbert. This is Get a Life, Chloe Brown, the first in the Brown Sisters series, and Take a Hint, Dani Brown, the second in the Brown Sisters series. I listened to both of these on audiobook and fell in love with Talia Hibbert as an author. I think she is just like the perfect romance author for me. So even though I have read these already, I decided to get a physical copy because I can imagine myself rereading these. And a lot of times when I want like a comfort reread, I don't reread the whole book, I read my favorite sections. And I think these two will be perfect for just rereading my favorite highlight moments of each, or doing a full reread, you know. I plan on getting the Third Sisters book. I have listened to that one on audiobook and it was one of my favorites, but I decided to pick them up in order. So next one is not that thick yet, but getting there. This is Robin Hobb's Assassin's Apprentice, and if you have not heard people talking about this one on BookTube, I don't know where you've been. Pretty sure there's a read-along happening right now. This wasn't my favorite like cover or version. It's a little bit small for me, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. But I'm excited to get to this series, kind of, because I feel like everything I've heard tells me that this is going to break my heart. I also am a little bit intimidated by this, not even because of the size of the book, but because of the size of the world that this comes from. I know there's like the Live Trader series. There's a ton of books. I think it has it like printed on the front. And this, I'm sure, is not even all of them. This is going to be another big leap into a huge world. I've already got Wheel of Time and Sanderson. We'll see when I add Robin Hobb to the list. I've seen this next one on several channels as well, but maybe not as much recently because I waited forever to actually pick it up. But this is Foundry Side by Robert Jackson Bennett. Again, another cover that I just love. This has to do with a mix of magic and technology that really has me interested with just how does this work? I find that really intriguing. I heard really good things about this first book, and I know I've seen people pick up the second book, but I haven't heard as much about that, which makes me a little bit nervous that maybe the series doesn't hold up, but I just couldn't help myself because this cover, beautiful. I'm pretty sure the rest of these you'll probably recognize, aside from maybe one or two, but The Poppy War is up next by R.F. Kuang. Another cover that I'm not sure I like the yellowness of this. It looks really cool on my rainbow shelf, but I kind of like the plain white covers a little bit more. This one I've heard is another heartbreaker. It's definitely a hard read. I think the series overall has such acclaim and resoundingly good reviews that I had to pick it up eventually. I actually bought this for one of my friends for Christmas last year and was waiting to see if they liked it because we also have similar tastes. I don't think they've read it yet. I actually have a pretty chunky graphic novel up next. This is The Complete Persepolis, so it's a full set, which I think is why it ended up being much chunkier than my other graphic novels. This is all in black and white, and it follows a girl as she grows up in revolutionary Iran, but it was finally available in like my local bookstore, and so I picked it up really recently. I think in April around my birthday. This was one of my birthday purchases. I think this will be a great informative graphic novel. A nice change of pace. We're about to get into like the super chunky ones, but we've got a few more regular sized novels. This is The House on the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Cloon. It has a setback, which I don't like. Not a fan of that, but again, just don't stop hearing about this book. I'm excited to dive into T.J. Cloon as an author because I know a lot of the people I follow on BookTube really love his writing, and I think there's a book called Wolf Song. I could be wrong, but I know a lot of the Love of the Night readathon hosts love Wolf Song, and we're super excited about that book, also by T.J. Cloon. I'm making a lot of drawbacks to memory, so if I'm wrong on any of the details, I'm sorry. But anyway, I'm excited about T.J. Cloon as an author, and I think this will be a good introduction. Pretty soon you're gonna start seeing like the book stack because we've seriously got the thick ones left. I love this cover as well. This is Thorn. It is a Goose Girl retelling, if I remember right. The cover says, one princess, two fates, one impossible choice. It's got a really cool art style, kind of like a paper cutout almost. And I love the contrast between the spine and the cover. I'm a sucker for a good retelling. Like, I'm a sucker for even like a trash retelling, honestly. But a good retelling will find a place in my top shelf almost without reason. Let's go with The Blade itself, Joe Abercrombie. Grimdark. I don't know if I like Grimdark. I don't know. I don't think I've read Grimdark. So I was like, how do I know if I like Grimdark? How do I know what Grimdark is for sure? And everybody kept saying, oh, this guy right here, the King of Grimdark. So I feel like I bought this, I'm excited about it, but I'm also just like, it's almost like research about myself. Like, am I gonna like Grimdark? And can I identify Grimdark once I've read it? We have started to get into a little bit thicker with The City of Brass. Another great cover aside from this setback. I don't like it. But another series that I've heard, not only is the concept solid, the first book solid, but the series as a whole is solid, which is always a good feeling to go into a series knowing that it's completed and has good reviews across the board. Battle Royale is up next, and look at that cover. The bright reds are just beautiful on these books. This is supposed to be the like pre-Hunger Games version of Hunger Games, like the original Hunger Games. It's supposed to be super intense. It's intimidatingly thick. All of these next few books are. Hearing just really great things about, and I'm excited to dive into some of these chunkier ones. I'm not getting as much reading done as I used to. I think this school year has been a lot. I know I keep saying that, but I'm teaching new subjects and I'm learning these new subjects in the middle of the year. Anyway, I'm not getting through these chunky books as fast, but that doesn't mean I'm not excited for them. That's not even a great view for you guys. So we have Theft of Swords up next by Michael J. Sullivan. And I'll be honest, I don't know a single thing about this book. I could read the back. Everybody knows this book apparently, but me, because again, it's another one that like, I've seen it and I'm pretty sure it's been around for a while. So 2011, so yeah, 10 years apparently. I don't know where I've been, but it's on my shelf. It'll probably be a few more years before I get to it, but I at least own it now. All right, take a second. Can you think of two super chunky, super popular books? You've probably seen maybe even both of them if you've looked at my earlier videos. Let's see if you're right. The first one, Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. I love Sarah J. Maas. I was like super into her writing at like the end of college. I read, I think, straight through 4 Throne of Glass books. And then, I don't know, I kind of fell off for a bit. But I have heard incredible things about this version. Another stunning cover that I think I face out on my top red shelf. The spine is also really cool. It's a good mix of red and gold, but it is huge. It's monstrous and it's intimidating. And apparently it's actually called House of Earth and Blood, which really throws a lot of people off. But yeah. Final guess. Let's see if you get it. Priory of the Orange Tree. My boyfriend considered taking this book when we went to Utah. Kind of glad he didn't because we did not have much space in our luggage to begin with, and this would have taken up a lot of it. I have heard that some people really love this and some people find it a little slow, which given how thick it is, there's bound to be some slow bits in there. But I am super excited for a good, solid dragon fantasy. That is my stack. Let me see if I can turn it so you can at least have the last few covers. There you go. Oh, if this doesn't fall over soon, it'll be a miracle. What's your favorite book you've bought so far this year? I would love to have more recommendations to add to my ever-growing list of books to buy. I think that's part of the joy of being a reader, is having a never-ending book buying list. So let me know what I should buy next. Let me know if there's any of these you'd like to see a review of, or if you think I should prioritize any of these. I'd love to hear what you have to say. So I will see you all later. Bye, guys.